You own the power stations. So we'll give your government a loan. Then you set up little companies and get that money from your government and you build independent power stations. And these guys say, but our people will never allow it. The unions will never allow it. They'll never allow individuals to own electricity. And immediately they say, oh, no problem. Frustrate them. Get them to the point where they will allow them. Where there's a will, there's a way. And the guys say, okay, how do we frustrate them? And they say, let the ANC start looting Eskom. And a company is set up known as Chancellor House. Chancellor House gets every tender there is to get to build power stations. They go to China, they find Hitachi, they say, Hitachi, come through, let's share a share spreading deal, let's work together, let's build power stations. Now, fundamentally, how are we allowing people that have no experience in electricity, politicians, to build power stations? Fundamentally, let's start there. But let's leave that conversation, because when I said this to them and when I asked them this, they said to us, so how do you expect us to finance the revolution? And I said, okay, let's leave that conversation. Because if they're saying that they must own entities that loot from the state to finance their revolution and bus people down to F&B Stadium and wherever they need to bus them down and create this euphoria that all the grandmothers are supporting us, everybody's supporting us because they've got funds that they've looted from Eskom, that the same electricity that people don't have, if they want to have electricity, they must just go and look. If that's the narrative that they want to push, then let these people become serious about service delivery. The issues we have today at Eskom can all be backdated to a tender that went out to Chancellor House. 38.5 billion that went out to Chancellor House. And people...
That's rands.
Yeah, that's rands.
Okay.
People ask me and say, Mpo, how do you know these numbers off by head? And I said to them, I spent 5 years advising government. There's no government paperwork that I've not read. There's no government department that I've not fully understood. There's no structure of government that I don't know in and out. Immediately, how they did this, how they gave themselves the tender, the chairperson of fundraising in the ANC, they deployed that person as the chairperson of Eskom. He became the board chairperson of Eskom. Immediately after doing that, the ANC receives a tender of 38.5 billion. Now, the public protector of the country at that time came out and said this tender was awarded irregularly. The ANC looked at it and said, we're ruling. At that time, they had the majority in parliament. They said, nice to know. Let's continue.
We can even put it to a vote.
If you want.
If you want.
Yeah. And immediately what begins to happen is everything wrong starts to happen at our power stations. When I was reading the documents of what went wrong in those power stations, because we got documents from the CEOs to understand everything, the story's ridiculous. Welding needs to happen. Somebody goes and buys the wrong welding equipment or the wrong welding bolts. They bring them through. Eskom says, oh, you bought the wrong bolts. Person says, sorry, I can't get a refund. Don't care. Let's weld. Eskom says, you're welding incorrectly. Sorry, I need to get paid. Let's weld. Eskom says, this is the wrong thing you're doing. Sorry, need to get paid. Let's weld. There are politicians in the ANC that have told us that they are waiting for us to drop money bags. Weld. And immediately when things come through, they say, but this thing has been built incorrectly. They said, go ask the politician in the ANC. They go to the politicians. Guys, they're building incorrectly at the power stations. Can you force these people to fix them? No, we can't. We use the money to fill up a stadium. Anybody who wants to question the welding there must come question the ANC, because we won that election because of the stadiums we used. Sorry, we used the money to buy T-shirts. Anybody who's feeling cold must come and ask us. Any minister who questions the ANC will get released because the money we used to actually win these people over came from Eskom. So write it off. And after many years, Eskom says, let's take these people to court. Eskom takes the ANC to court, Chancellor House to court. And when they get to court, it's stringed along for many years. Eskom is paying lawyers ridiculous amounts. Again, the state is being looted. The ANC can play the long game. I mean, they got 38.5 billion. They've been paid. Doesn't matter if there's no electricity. They haven't delivered the service. Doesn't matter. They continue doing the same thing up until the case had to get to the Supreme Court in Bloem. And when the ANC saw that things were getting hot from that specific court case, the ANC says, you know what, we'll pay. Fine us 600 million. We'll pay just to say we delayed everything. We didn't use the right thing. We're sorry. Sorry, guys. Here's 600 million. What about the 38.5 billion that they took? Today, we still have non-functioning power stations. The ANC was paid the 38.5 billion. They use it to go and tell our grandmothers that they are doing well as a government. They use that same money to buy young people t-shirts, to go out there and fill up buses and fill up stadiums. I always say to people to say, if when it comes to numbers, you can't beat the ANC out of it. We as a Rise will never try and form buses and try and say we're going to fill up stadiums like the ANC. No, our strategy is to say, let the truth set people free. We hope that the truth will reveal. And it's my biggest hope that everything I'm saying, people go out there and Google. Just go and Google. Go and have a look at these things. Go and ask your comrades to say, there's this young man who's saying that the reason we have load shedding is because funds were used to sponsor the party to get votes. And this is what happened. Go and ask those things. Immediately once you ask those things, you'll see the trail. It's right there. It's clear as day.